Hi, my name is Teresa Borowski. I, along with my teammates, Brandy Griswold and Pamela Whitefoot, welcome you to our presentation, College. It's not always the right choice for everyone. Obviously, for the three of us, college is the right choice. But in our presentation, we'll look at some of the factors that may influence another student or another person to make a different choice. We'll also discuss some of the implications for attending college for the wrong reasons or with the wrong motivation. The worst case scenario, debt without a diploma. We hope you enjoy our presentation.
Expectations are granted unto children today, many before they have even been born. The past standard that a child will graduate high school has now been elevated to the child earning at least one college degree in their lifetime. According to the Pew Research Center, 94% of parents expect that their children will go to college. For many, post-secondary education is a rite of passage to the middle class, potentially raising social status. College also increases the individual's marketability, heightening the chance for gainful employment and higher compensation. Therefore, with factors as such, what is the issue? Where do we sign, right? However, the great debate is whether these outcomes are true for all who decide to continue their education. With current factors such as high cost of education, the loan debt crisis, as well as the country's lack of skilled laborers and the abundance of unsuccessful students, it may not be such a rash perspective to think that college just may not be for everyone. The high cost is one factor that causes some to reconsider if school is the correct path for them. During the 2011-12 academic year, the annual average cost of attendance for an undergraduate at a public institution was $19,339. For private institutions, the average cost for the same year was $33,047. Many students attending college are enrolled for at least 2 to 4 years, and considering the cost, this can set back individuals anywhere from $40,000 to $132,000, depending on where they attend and for how long. Currently, the United States has over $1 trillion in student loan debt. According to the Finade student loan debt clock, the total loan debt is increasing at a rate of about $2,853 per second. Of course, some degrees pay for themselves. However, not all. Not all degrees are equally in demand or equally useful, and many graduates end up worse off than if they would have begun working at the age of 18. The cost of attendance per student has increased almost 5 times the rate of inflation since 1983. However, graduate salaries have been steady flatlined for the majority of this time. Graduates face paying back their student loans with interest once no longer attending, and although given a 6-month grace period before payments are expected, the outlook is gloomy for many as the job market is overflooding with qualified candidates and dry of opportunities. A student who earned a degree in music appreciation may find it harder than a graduate who earned a degree in finance. This same point echoes the point made by our own President Obama when he said that young people could make more money in skilled manufacturing rather than a degree in art history. Student loan debt has grown to the extent that it keeps many individuals from starting families or buying houses, essentially postponing, if not keeping them from moving further with their lives. One effect stemming from the college craze is the lack of skilled laborers. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, despite rising levels of formal education, many lack the basic skills such as math and reading, as well as work habits and interpersonal skills that most employers mandate. Further from there, many attaining higher education have decreased their time committed to the workforce. This leads to unexperienced individuals lacking the social and fundamental skills needed within the professional market. As a result, employers and businesses are hurt by the lack of help worthy of pay. According to the annual Global Talent Shortage Survey from the Manpower Group, nearly 1 in 5 employers cannot fill open positions because they cannot find people with soft, or otherwise known as office skills, specifically motivation, interpersonal skills, appearance, punctuality, and flexibility. The same survey found that among those students who did not intern, only 44% consider themselves ready for the job market. In 2012, 53% of skilled laborers in the U.S. were 45 years and older, and 18% were between the ages of 55 and 64. This leaves room for concern as the baby boom population is reaching retirement. As they leave the workforce, it is expected that we will see a large decline in the skilled laborers available, considering that high schools have shifted their focus on preparing students for four-year colleges rather than vocational school or even the workforce.
Hello, I'm Pam Whitefoot. For my part of this project, I will be covering the high cost of college, the loan debt crisis, and how this relates to why college may not be for everyone. To start, let's talk about how the high cost of college does not guarantee a high-paying position. According to an analysis of the 2011 Current Population Survey data by Northwestern University, about 1.5 million, or 53.6% of bachelor degree holders under the age of 25 were jobless or underemployed, the highest percentage in 11 years. In 2000, for comparison, it was a lower 41%. A weak labor market has left half of young college graduates either jobless or underemployed in positions that don't fully use their skills or knowledge. For many years, there have been more college graduates turned out than growth in the number of jobs in the technical, managerial, and professional areas where college graduates historically want to work. Therefore, we now have nearly 80,000 bartenders and taxi drivers with bachelor's degrees. It's estimated that 1 in 3 college graduates has a job historically performed by those with a high school diploma or the equivalent. Kelman Edwards, Jr., a 24-year-old graduate who is waiting to see the returns on his college education, makes the statement, "Everyone is always telling you, go to college. But when you graduate, it's kind of an empty cliff." Another consideration for college isn't for everyone is the failure to graduate. According to a study from Harvard University, the high cost of college and other factors are causing American students to drop out before receiving their degree at higher rates than other developed countries. The study also found only 56% of the students who entered America's colleges and universities graduate within 6 years, while only 29% of the students who enter 2-year programs complete their degree within 3 years. One factor in the higher dropout rates, according to the Harvard study, is the rising cost of college education. The cost of college has nearly sextupled since 1985, and the total amount of student loan debt held by Americans has surpassed $1 trillion in 2011. With as many as 25% of borrowers behind on their loans, the number of Americans seeking relief from student loan debt has increased substantially. The cost of obtaining a university education in the United States has soared over the past 3 decades. The following chart shows college tuition and fees have surged 1,120% since 1978, 4 times faster than the increase in the Consumer Price Index. For comparison, medical expenses have climbed 601%, while the price of food has increased 244% over the same period. Soaring tuition and shrinking incomes are making college less and less affordable. Senator Tom Harkin, an Iowa Democrat and chairman of the Senate Health, Education, Labor and Pension Committee, said, "For millions of young people, rising college costs are putting the American dream on hold or out of reach." As we consider the high cost of a bachelor's degree and low job placement for these degrees, one has to consider maybe training for a vocational or skilled job may be a better investment. Things are looking up for skilled workers, whose demand remains strong. Recently, a career builders survey reported 40% of employers complained they were unable to find sufficient skilled workers to fill their available positions. This is particularly striking in manufacturing, where employers are heavily targeting foreign workers and military veterans to fill open positions. For students who can get into programs that prepare them for such jobs, the employment future looks promising. With a high demand for skilled workers, wages for these positions have increased. According to a 2012 study by Georgetown University's Center for Education and Workforce, 39% of men with an educational certificate earn more than men with an associate's degree. Here is a list of the top 10 highest paying vocational jobs from an article, Vocational Careers by Kristen Buck, that do not require a 4-year degree. This may be a better option for those who were middle of the pack in high school. Many education programs for vocational careers qualify you more quickly for an entry-level job than a 4-year degree. Advancement opportunities are often available once you gain work experience. You may also consider continuing your education and certifications while you work, which can also provide additional advancement opportunities. Training for vocational careers can start as early as high school. Some high schools provide the training within school curriculum, or students can enroll in college-level courses for part of the school day. Students who are put on this track may not be expected to pursue a 4-year degree, or family circumstances require them to work as soon as they turn 18. Another huge concern for those questioning the statement college isn't for everyone is the loan debt crisis. In 2009, the most recent data available, 67% of graduates had debt averaging $24,000 per student, up 6% from the previous year, according to the nonprofit Project on Student Debt. The numbers are even higher at private institutions. The figures do not include the growing number of loans taken out by parents, and only limited data on for-profit colleges, where student debt is typically much higher, but relatively few institutions report it. Americans now owe more on their student loans than they do on their credit cards, a first, according to Financial Aid Organization, which has created what it calls the student debt clock. The organization figures America's student loan debt is growing at a rate of $2,853.88 per second. At this pace, it will surpass $1 trillion in 2012, and there is no sign of the pace letting up. The need to borrow has grown for all types of students at all types of schools, says Lauren Ashner, director of the Project on Student Debt. The amount that students are borrowing is driven by the share of costs that students and families are expected to cover after aid. College costs are rising faster than families' incomes and faster than grants and scholarships. A lot faster. Continuing that thought, Iowa Senator Tom Harkin, chairman of the Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pension, says there's a lot of similarities between what's happening with student loans and the housing crisis. But there is also a key difference. Unlike a mortgage, in which a borrower can refinance or, at worst, face foreclosure and bankruptcy, student loans do not go away. They get hung around their necks until they pay off every last dime of it, says Harkin. That's because, by law, except in very rare circumstances, student loans cannot be wiped out in bankruptcy, and there are very limited options for refinancing or restructuring them. Instead, those who get student loans and cannot pay them back face garnishment of wages, governmental seizures of their tax returns and Social Security payments, and loss of professional licenses, leaving them even less able to pay their student debts. As you will see in the above video clip from NBC News, many young college graduates are experiencing the devastating reality of the loan debt crisis. The financial burden of the debt they incurred while obtaining a bachelor's degree, in hopes of securing a higher paying job, has actually crippled them financially. Many are questioning whether they made the right financial decision when choosing to go to college.
Good evening. Of all the time bombs in the American economy set to explode with dire consequences, this is a big one: staggering debt from student loans. Everyone is told a college education is a way to get ahead. College tuitions, though, keep going up. So does the borrowing. And we just hit an awful milestone. Our nation's combined student loan debt has now hit $1 trillion. That averages out to $24,000 per student. It's now larger than credit card debt in this country, and it comes just as an entire generation is just starting out. Today, the president suggested one fix. More on that in a moment. But we have two reports to start out with tonight, beginning with NBC's John Yang in Chicago.
For millions of college students, the joy of graduation is quickly followed by dread, a new life with old debts. University of Illinois at Chicago senior Andrea Watson will owe about $40,000 in student loans.
It's very scary to know that before I even get that first real career job, I'm just going to have thousands and thousands of dollars over my head.
In a new report out today, the College Board, which runs the SATs, says tuition and fees at four-year private colleges are up 4.4% from last year to an average of $28,500, and up 8.3% at public schools to more than $8,200.
I'm the one-man band.
With first jobs hard to find and starting salaries falling, frustration is turning to anger.
What kind of 18-year-old teenager is going to have that kind of money?
I'm angry.
College is a gigantic scam. A scam to get your money.
It's expressed in a series of YouTube videos and at protests across the country sparked by Occupy Wall Street.
I'm constantly in deferment.
Protester Tim Weldon graduated from Michigan State University with an economics degree and $20,000 in debt.
What's the point of going to school if A, you can't get a job, B, you can't pay back your student loans?
Analysts say the heavy burden of student debt is a drag on the broader economy. Recent graduates struggling to pay off loans are less likely to take major steps like getting married and buying a house. Still, experts say it's worth the financial pain.
College is still the best investment you can make in your future, and our economy needs more people to go to college.
I don't want to be like my friends who are still living at home, working at like Walmart or Kmart and can't pay off their student loans.
The new reality for college graduates who find themselves paying the price of an education in more ways than one. John Yang, NBC News, Chicago.
As we enter into this final section of our presentation, I'll share with you some staggering statistics. A recent survey revealed that 71% of college graduates in the class of 2012 had student loan debt. This doesn't even take into consideration the number of students who incur loan debt but never graduate. Even more astonishing is the reality that the average debt is nearly $30,000, money that certainly would make a nice down payment on a mortgage. The debt at graduation continues to increase annually at a rate of approximately 6%. Some of this loan debt could be justified if one were to consider that employment opportunities and wages would offset the monthly loan payments, but 41% of college graduates say that their jobs do not require a college degree. My job at the college is a retention advisor. This means that I deal with students on a daily basis that are struggling to remain in school. Some of the issues that we have here at MMCC is that we have an open door policy. This means that we accept all students. Many of them are not academically prepared for college, and we have to do our best to serve them. We have students walking through our doors, enrolling in classes who literally have a third grade reading level and sometimes third or fourth grade math level. These students are not prepared for college, and they soon find out the rigors of college is not the right choice for them. We also have students that are not emotionally prepared. They are first-time students, first-generation students. They often lack career goals and career direction, and they don't have the support at home to help them succeed. The overwhelming majority of these unprepared students receive financial aid, costing the taxpayers a large amount of money in Pell Grant, taxpayer money, and also causing the student to incur large amounts of student loan debt. The motivation for many of these students is not to obtain a career, but rather to get those financial aid refund checks that are issued twice a semester. It is no wonder that we have a graduation rate of only 13% and our retention rate is 54%. This means that we lose almost as many students each year as we keep. Very, very grim situation, but it is a reality, and it is one that indicates that college is not always the right choice for everyone. Once a student makes a decision that college is for them and chooses to enroll in classes, it becomes the responsibility of our institution to support his or her decision and do whatever we can to empower that student to reach his or her academic goals. After all, we are an educational institution, and we are here to serve students because we believe that each student has potential and education can be a life-changing catalyst. In addition, our very existence is dependent upon the students who walk through the doors. Therefore, it is our responsibility to support students on their journey. One of the ways we do this is to offer developmental courses to help prepare students for the world of academia and give them the foundational skills necessary for success in future courses. This past semester alone, we offered 62 sections of courses that we call developmental, meaning classes that are below college level and would not transfer to another college or university, and often do not count toward the completion of an associate degree. These courses include low-level English and math classes that teach the skills that should have been learned in high school. Other courses, like the navigation course or first-year experience courses, are designed to introduce a student to the rigors of college life, study and coping skills, and personal life skills. These developmental courses cost more than $200,000 a semester in instructor salaries alone. In addition, another $200,000 plus is spent on the retention department to offer support to struggling students. We want to make sure that regardless of a student's motivation to attend college, we do whatever we can to support their decision, even if we feel they would be better served by a vocation or trade school. This chart shows some interesting but also discouraging statistics about how MMCC compares with the national average in terms of loan debt and graduation rates. It is a strong indicator that we have many students entering the doors of MMCC that will eventually discover that college is not the right choice for them. Although our tuition is more than half the cost of the national average for other two-year schools, our loan default rate is nearly one-third higher, and our graduation rate is less than half. This means that we have a large number of students that are incurring debt without a diploma. In addition, the income earned by our graduates in their early careers is approximately $8,000 below the national average. This student, I'll call her Jane, is an extreme example of what we refer to as debt without a diploma. Jane's sole motivation to attend college is to get the financial aid money she needs to pay her living expenses. She's used up all of her federal Pell Grant eligibility, the equivalent of 6 years of full-time attendance, enough to earn a bachelor's degree, and has yet to complete even her associate degree. She has been given the gift of $27,236 of free money. Free to her, but not to the hardworking taxpayers of this country. Money to attend school, and she squandered it away repeatedly by failing and withdrawing from classes, changing programs, etc. Even though all of her books and tuition was paid in full each semester, Jane has attempted over 140 credits, by the way, but she also took out student loans totaling over $37,000. She is currently unemployed, has no financial aid eligibility left to complete her degree, and will have an estimated loan payment of $431 a month for the next 10 years. Her likelihood to default on her loans? Very high. John is another example of a student that should have determined long ago that college wasn't the right choice for his life. Like Jane, John is motivated by the money, not the earning potential that comes with a degree, but rather the money that is given in hand each semester with very little effort required. John has received over $20,000 in federal Pell Grant funds and has nearly $34,000 in student loan debt. The sad part is that he only has 18 completed college credits to show for it. He is unemployed and is facing a monthly payment of $388 for the next 10 years. Like Jane, he will likely default on his student loans as well, because he currently has no way to pay them back. In my job as a retention advisor, I encounter many students who are very unlikely to ever graduate. Some of them are just academically unprepared. Some students are dealing with too many personal, mental health, family, or other issues. At the risk of sounding excessively harsh, some, frankly, lack the motivation, study skills, and/or the academic ability to succeed and should not be here in the first place. They are very honest in expressing their motivation, and it's not to earn a college diploma. Many students, especially in the rural counties that MMCC serves, are living in poverty and are coming to college for one reason only: to receive the large financial aid refund checks that come each semester. Some students, especially those in-district students over age 24, will receive a refund check of nearly $5,000 each semester. Oftentimes, these very students quit attending school altogether after a few days. The chart above outlines some staggering figures. This year alone, MMCC dispersed nearly $8 million in Pell Grant funds. money that is entirely supported by our tax dollars. Nearly $11 million on top of that was incurred as student loan debt by less than 2,000 students. Just think, over $19 million of federal student aid is received by our students in the fall-winter semesters alone. Unfortunately, we only had a 9% graduation rate this year. It's easy to see why we have a 15% default rate on our student loans. Too many students, more students than not actually, are taking the money and leaving without a degree. These very same students can't find jobs and are not able to pay this debt. It would probably not take us much time to identify individuals who've earned college degrees and have gone on to have professional careers. Many enjoy the things that often accompany prosperity and financial freedom, such as yearly vacations, new cars, perhaps a second home. Sometimes, however, those same individuals work in pressure-packed positions, resulting in long hours and requiring great responsibility. Likewise, we can probably identify others who enjoy the same success but never attended or finished college. Take Bruce, for example. Bruce is a friend of mine. Bruce attended college for one semester back in the 80s, but determined that it just wasn't for him, long before he incurred thousands of dollars of student loan debt or failed out of classes. He is 53 years old and has over 30 years at his job in the transportation business and is a member of the Teamsters Union. He is able to retire with full retirement benefits at any time now and earns well over $60,000 a year. He's given as much overtime as he'd like to work. He owns several vehicles, paid off his home many years ago, and has no debt whatsoever. He will retire with a sizable nest egg, all without a college education. Laura has a similar story. She's 50 years old and has never attended college. During high school, Laura took advantage of one of the vocational education opportunities that are often provided in the public school system and learned a trade. Her specialty was operating a printing press. Shortly after graduation, Laura went to work for Monroe County in the printing office. She is now retired with 30 years of service, at age 50 no doubt, and carries lifetime medical insurance for her family. When she retired, she was earning over 6 weeks of vacation each year, along with all the state and local holidays. Although her salary is not large compared to some in the professional workforce, she currently earns more than I do, and I am the same age and have multiple college degrees. She has no loan debt, she draws a retirement check, and is now working part-time at a school just for fun, all without a college education. As I hope you have discovered through your time at Mid-Michigan Community College, attending college can be a life-changing experience. If you are taking this class, it means that this is not your first semester, and you have decided that attending college is a right choice for you. Some of you may even be contemplating transferring to a university to complete a bachelor's degree. But as you may have discovered through our presentation, choosing to attend college is not always the best choice for everyone, and it comes at a hefty cost, not only to the individual in terms of student loan debt, but also to the taxpayers who support the Pell Grant Fund, the labor market with a shortage of skilled laborers in the institution itself.